So let's take someone who's just come out of university and they've got their first professional job. They're finally getting a good income coming in. Are they better going down the investment route? Because you say it's better to start investing early, but they maybe want to save for a deposit, in a few years for a house. What's the best allocation of their income?
That's a really great question. I think it's very difficult to make big goals in your 20s because we're just kind of figuring out who the hell we are at that point. Often we've gone into a job, we're not even sure if it's right for us at that point. But and we just kind of also want to enjoy life. We're being social at that point too. But making some headway with your finances early on, as we discussed, is a big deal. Now, a really great way at the moment, we have something called a lifetime ISA, which falls as part of your £20,000 contribution. And that essentially, you can put up to £4,000 in each tax year, which runs April to April. For those who don't know, that's the tax year. And essentially, the government give you 25% on top. So if you put in £4,000 in this tax year, you'd earn £1,000 from the government on top, which helps speed up the process of you getting a house. And let's say you meet someone nice, boy or girl, and you can both put your lifetime ISAs together and buy a house together. So it's a really great way of getting onto the property ladder, which, as we know, is bloody difficult for most young people. And so if you can set that up now, even if you just open it and put £1 in, it's a really just great account to have. And if you add to it a little bit here and there over time, that's awesome. You're still going to get the contribution back on it. From anything from £1 up to £4,000, you're going to get 25% on everything you put in there.
With buying, obviously we were discussing how difficult it is to get onto the property market. Do you see any financial merit in renting at all, or are you solely buying? Because obviously the benefits of owning a house are plentiful, and they're benefits that we all know. But is there actually any merit to renting?
It's a great question. Look, we're brought up as a nation to believe that our pathway is save all we can, buy a house, spend our whole life paying it off, maybe get mortgage free, and then try and save enough for a decent retirement. That doesn't have to be the way. There are lots of successful people out there that only rent and they will never buy, and they see the value in renting, and because they build businesses or they earn income which vastly outweighs the amount that they pay in rent. It's a decision that you need to make. Do you want to become a home owner and have security? Often people do because they want to pass something down. If they do have children in later life, then this is something that you've got to think about. You don't necessarily have to make a big decision now, because it's going to take you a few years to save towards a house. So if you decide that money needs to be used elsewhere, and you're going to go traveling around the world, and you might decide that another city is right for you and you're going to rent there. And so there are lots of different cases of when renting is better than buying. It's a lot more flexibility, certainly a lot less cost, but you are not building equity. That money is going into a landlord's pocket. So you're building that person's retirement pot and not your own. So that's something you do need to think about. And whether or not that's a pathway you want to take. Now, I rented until I was 33 years old. I'm 35. Till I was 30. Sorry, God, 30. I'm 35 now. I've had a house for 4 years. It's a step that I wanted to take because I wanted to invest in property as I grow. Because once you get one property, you can remortgage and refinance, take money out and put it into a further property, which you can then rent back. So that's the property you'd be renting, would be the property that I invested into for that reason. So there are different pathways. And look, there's no wrong or right answer. You'll know as you build, but saving money to allow you to make that decision, whether you decide to use it on something else, is still very important. You're still going to need to set a substantial savings pot. And the reason why I say that is because, let's say your boss wakes up on the wrong side of bed tomorrow and goes, I am cutting that department. Or they have a big meeting, finance says, we don't need marketing anymore, and you cut. There's nothing you can do about that. If you don't have a substantial savings net and something which I call an emergency fund, you kind of up shit's creek without a paddle. You're in trouble at that point. And if you had an emergency fund and some saving, it becomes a little bit more of a financial inconvenience because you have the money there which allows you to then bat off, get yourself another job, pay your rent, all your bills, and you're okay at that point. And that's often the first step of building wealth, is essentially getting your emergency fund sorted, which is often, they say, 3 to 6 months of pay. And if you can get to that point, honestly, it gives you choices, it gives you a lot more freedom with your money. And that's a really great first step. And I would do that first before investing my money.